We think of hospitals as places of healing, right? But what happens when the place you go to get safe is actually the source of the danger? Today, we're diving into a really critical issue that honestly doesn't get enough attention: fire safety within the very walls of our healthcare system.
This quote, wow, it really says it all, doesn't it? In a hospital where so many patients can't just get up and run, every single second is precious. The stakes are quite literally life and death. So, why are hospitals so uniquely vulnerable to fire? And what's this whole complex system of rules that's supposed to keep everyone safe? Well, that's what we're here to do. We're going to break down the risks, untangle the regulations, and look at the real-world consequences when things go right and when they go terribly wrong. Okay, so first things first, let's get our heads around the unique dangers that can turn a hospital into a potential tinderbox. It's a combination of things you really don't find anywhere else, all under one roof.
When you look at these risks all together, you really start to get the picture. It's not just one single thing, it's the combination that's so dangerous. You've got rooms enriched with oxygen that can supercharge a fire, sparked by electrical systems that are running 24/7. And then, and this is the big one, you have patients who simply can't evacuate on their own. Add in these maze-like hallways, all sorts of flammable materials, and sometimes a staff that isn't trained for a fire, and you have a recipe for an absolute perfect storm. So how do you even begin to fight a perfect storm like that? Well, you need a near-perfect defense, and that defense comes in the form of a pretty complex web of rules. It might seem like a lot of red tape, but trust me, every single rule is there for a reason, usually because a very real threat was identified. A good way to think about hospital fire safety isn't as one giant, dusty rulebook. It's much more like a 3-layer safety net. Each layer has its own specific job, but they all have to work together to catch any problems before a disaster happens. So, layer number 1 is the National Accreditation Board for Hospitals, or NABH. Think of this as the quality standard layer. NABH is less concerned about if you have a fire extinguisher and more concerned with the process. Are you testing that extinguisher? Is your staff trained to use it? And is every single check documented? NABH makes sure the entire safety system is working as it should. All right, layer 2 is the National Building Code, or NBC. Now, if NABH is all about the process, the NBC is the actual physical blueprint of the building. It dictates the nuts and bolts, things like how wide the hallways need to be for evacuations, what kind of fire doors you need, the exact specs for sprinkler systems. This is all about building safety right into the bones of the hospital from day one. And that brings us to layer 3, the local law. In this case, the Telangana Fire NOC. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's the hands-on, on-site verification. Fire officials actually come to the hospital and they physically check everything. Does that alarm really go off when you pull it? Do the water pumps have enough pressure? Getting this certificate is proof that your safety systems don't just look good on paper, they actually work. So here's how it all locks together. You've got NABH handling the process and the people, the how. You've got the NBC handling the infrastructure and design, the what. And then you have the local NOC providing that absolutely crucial on-site verification, the proof. You need all 3 of these working in concert to have a truly complete safety net. If you take even one away, you're left with some seriously dangerous gaps. Okay, so theory is one thing, but what does this actually look like in the real world when that safety net holds up versus when it completely fails? Let's look at 2 real-world examples that show the dramatic life-or-death difference that preparedness makes. Picture this: 2 hospitals. A fire starts in both. In one, there's no smoke detector where it should be. The main alarm panel is dead. The staff, with no training, panics. The fire extinguishers are expired. It's a complete tragedy. Now, in the other hospital, a similar fire starts, but this time, the alarm system works perfectly. The staff is well-trained and they respond immediately, guiding people through clear evacuation routes. The result? The fire is contained and everybody is safe. The lesson here is pretty clear. Being prepared doesn't always stop a fire from starting, but it is absolutely proven to prevent a fire from becoming a disaster. Beyond the absolutely devastating human cost, the financial fallout is just staggering. Let's say your hospital has a fire, but your fire NOC was expired. You know how much the insurance company is legally required to pay you for the damages? 0. A big, fat nothing. And that $0 insurance payout is just the beginning.
The hospital's management can actually face criminal charges. The hospital can lose its accreditation, which is a death sentence. The damage to your reputation can be permanent. And even a small fire can force a major shutdown for weeks or months. The cost of doing this right is tiny compared to the cost of getting it wrong.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty daunting, right? The good news is, getting this right isn't some impossible task. The path to compliance can be broken down into a practical, manageable toolkit that any hospital can follow. So where do you start? It all begins with an honest audit to find out where your gaps are. From there, you build a real action plan. And a huge piece of this, I can't stress this enough, is documentation. In an auditor's world, if it isn't written down, it never happened. After that, it's all about regular, hands-on training and running mock drills at least twice a year. This isn't a one-and-done checkbox. It's a constant cycle of testing and improving. At the end of the day, this whole conversation goes way beyond just regulations and checklists. It really gets to the very heart of what a hospital is supposed to be. And this right here, this quote from the source material just says it all perfectly. Compliance isn't just about passing an inspection. It is a fundamental ethical duty. A hospital is a place where people go when they are at their most vulnerable, expecting to be protected and cared for. Keeping them safe from fire isn't an optional extra. It is a non-negotiable part of that care and the absolute bedrock of patient trust. So, we'll leave you with this question to think about. When you or a loved one needs a hospital, is fire safety something you even consider? It's probably not top of mind for most of us, but maybe it should be. Thanks for tuning in.